Hey, what's up guys? Bajheera here, bringing you another Grim Dawn video. If you guys can't tell, I'm pretty hooked on this game and having a lot of fun with it. It's been the perfect game to play, to just smash waves of monsters on our little holiday vacation. But since I've been having a lot of fun with it, of course I want to share a little bit of an update with you guys. So I am now level 60. I've been progressing a little bit through the storyline. It's been pretty easy. We've just kind of been smashing monsters because I'm a little bit over leveled for that content, even while playing on veteran difficulty. So I'm pretty excited to try to wrap up the story and then maybe pick it up on another higher difficulty to try to get some better loot, more XP, and just a little bit more of a challenge too. But I am definitely having a lot of fun with it. The Crucible has still definitely been a lot of fun. And since I've been doing so much of the Crucible, I think I'm actually much farther ahead in terms of my devotions than I probably would be otherwise if I was just playing the game through the story mode strictly. So I do have a couple things to share with you guys. I've begun the progression of my character into what I've been doing was just kind of like a little bit of defense, but mostly offensive firepower, all the AoE using the Forcewave ability. But as you'll see, I've been kind of changing some things around, especially in my devotions, to kind of now start to like slowly transition towards more of an end game build that does have some single target damage as well as some AoE at the expense of some of my defensive abilities right now. I think as I get more now, I think the main thing that I need to develop my character is just gonna be those skill points that you get from leveling. So as we get more skill points, some of that defensive tankiness will come back. My single target damage will continue to grow, and I will have a nice and fun character. And I don't think this is going to be like a super crazy, hardcore end game viable build or anything like that, but I'm kind of just experiencing the game through a build that I think would be fun and having a lot of fun with it. So let's go ahead and hop in first things first to my skills. So a couple things that I've done here with my skills are I've changed a few things around so I could just have a few one-point wonders, because one of the big aspects of this game that you're going to find on your gear and things that you're going to want to look for are just plus skills. So I have a couple pieces of gear that give me plus skills to particular skills. Then I have plus skills to like all soldier skills. Then I have an amulet that gives me plus skills to all skills. So even just 1 point in like this ability right here, like Zolhan's technique, which is just something that procs off of a normal attack, actually has 5 points in it, even though I only invested 1 of my skill points that I earned in it. That's pretty cool. So I've put a few points into those sorts of things that I didn't have before. I'm still mostly using a Forcewave, this sort of combo, to just blast stuff down, but I've also put 1 point in Cadence, which is the sort of single target attack that I've been wanting to have. And the reason I did this is because I needed a good single target attack, 1 for late game, and 2 to benefit from this Blind Fury thing that I got through my devotions. So I'll show you that in a little bit, but basically this allows me to have, you know, a single target ability to proc all of this stuff, to proc Markovian's advantage. Basically all of these are just a way to deal more damage. This one also debuffs my target's defensive ability, so when I'm auto attacking, this has a 15% chance to proc. When it does, it deals extra damage, and it also debuffs my opponent. This sort of thing is also like an AoE. This is going to deal more damage. It's going to attack in an arc. It's going to slow the enemy's attack speed, but I'm also slowing enemy's attack speed with my Forcewave. With this sort of thing, I believe it's this one. Yeah, internal trauma. So I have a lot of different ways of slowing my enemy's attack speed. This is just one of those things where you're a soldier, you're tanky, you have a lot of damage. You're just going to, you know, overwhelm your opponent. You're going to out-battle your opponent. You're going to outskill your opponent. So you have ways to make yourself a more effective in combat beast than your opponent. So that's pretty cool. But I wanted to get some of these points to make use of the single target ability. Once again, all my character is based around basically is physical damage, bleed damage, internal trauma damage, and a lot of these things are gonna be present in all of this. So same thing across here. This is just gonna buff up with this ability basically. This is gonna make this a little bit more effective. It's gonna hit more targets. It's going to have a chance to pass through enemies, dealing more physical damage and more pierce damage. And then this, of course, is also really cool. This is a proc that I get, which affects all of my abilities. So even if I only wanted to attack a few times in order to get deadly momentum, for the next 4 seconds, I could pop off maybe 2 force waves that deal more damage as well. So this kind of synergizes nicely together. And I put 1 point in a counter-strike as well. I'm just kind of going through some of these talents just for the same thing. It doesn't give me a huge bonus, but it's a small thing. Maybe it'll kill like a minor enemy when it's attacking me. if it somehow gets past my Forcewave spam. A quick little counterattack will take them out. Another thing I added, I don't believe I had put any points into this, and I'm surprised that this has sort of slipped my mind. This is a thing that happens, a buff that takes place whenever you take damage, whenever you get attacked. Well, at least has a 34% of chance of activating when you take damage. But it makes me do 155% to all damage, and gives me a huge amount of offensive ability, which makes me more likely to hit my target, more likely to, I believe, crit my target, things like that. Has a 16-second skill recharge and an 8-second duration, so it can be up fairly often. And I really like it, so I invested a lot of points into that, because anything that's going to make me do a % more damage is what I'm looking for. I'm still, since I'm clearing content that's a little bit easy for me right now, investing more heavily in killing things quickly is more valuable than trying to tank up. And I sort of changed my talents around, because when I was trying to push higher Crucible levels, I thought my defensive talents were a little bit more important. But now that we're pushing story missions and I'm sort of trying to transition into an outline of more of a late game build, I'm starting to put points in offensive stuff. And I'm not sure if this is one of those things that requires a whole lot of points in it, but I like that. I like the Enrage mechanic. This reminds me of Enrage from, you know, like maybe Vanilla, which we can look forward to, right? Vanilla WoW, where if you get crit, then you start to deal a lot more damage. This kind of reminds me of that, so I like that mechanic. But I had to take points out of Menhir's Will. This used to be a much higher level. I had to downgrade it a little bit just to free up some points. I think I have like maybe 1 or 2 points in this right now. I could probably even take out 1 more point to put it somewhere else. But I mean, eventually I'm going to put more points into it. So, and I'm not really point starved at the moment, so that's no big deal. But I did drop some points out of this, and I think that I had to bring this down, so my health is a little bit lower than it used to be. But once again, I needed some points to spread things around a little bit so I could get some of these 1-point wonders and things like that. I didn't take any points out of this. I left this really strong because I like the physical damage and internal trauma damage, and the resistances are nice. Same thing with this. I would like to eventually max this out. Reduce the bleeding like duration, or sorry, it's bleeding resistance and reduce stun duration and freeze duration. Those things, like keeping you moving, keeping you in the battle, is very important. Like getting frozen or getting stunned, not being able to move out of the way, not being able to attack to regen health, that's no good. So definitely want to have that good resistance there. I don't know if I really need it right now, but it's one of those things I probably want it eventually, so we won't take any points out of it. I kept all these fully upgraded. I don't think that there's anything else that I really changed much besides investing a few points into this at the expense of some of the defensive stuff. Eventually, I would like to max this entire row out. I'm going to leave these probably where they are, just at 1-point wonders here. I'd probably like to get Menhir's Will up. I don't think I'm going to max out military conditioning. I think this is going to be a 1-point wonder here. We'll leave this max. I probably would like to max this out. I would like to max this out as well. I think that these two can probably stay at 1 point for a long time. And of course, this definitely needs to be maxed. Oleron's Rage is nutty. But in terms of my plans for the Shaman tier, now that I actually have a single target ability, I may end up I did put a few points into this. I had to free up some points because I needed enough spirit to wear my gear, because I actually changed around my devotions to drop my spirit a little bit. So I had to change things around, which included upgrading this. So I took some points out of here because I don't think this is actually that important. I think what's the best thing about this whole deal is when I push the mastery value up, I'll get Heart of the Wild. This seems much better to me. It's just plus percentage health and plus reduced poison and bleeding duration. So that's really, really nice, because I have my Dryad's Blessing, which also reduces the duration of poison and bleed. So whenever I get a bleed or a poison on me, I can just charge something, and combined with Heart of the Wild, it should last a very short period of time, which makes it deal a lot less damage, right? But I think that what I'm going to do here is I'll keep Brute Force maxed out, but as I push all the way to this mastery, it's going to also allow me to get 1 point in Feral Hunger and 1 point in Upheaval. And I eventually will have a few points to play with, and I could put more points into either one of these, maybe Feral Hunger to get a little bit more lifesteal, because this is really nice. It does, it's like basically like these attacks here, that you just have a chance to proc off of the basic attack, right? But it'll give me some bleeding damage, give me some just physical damage in an arc, which is cool, but it also steals health. And if I upgrade this thing, it'll make me steal more health, which is cool. And then this is just one of those cool things that has a chance to proc off of a crit, just a way of dealing AoE damage, which is nice. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about, putting 1 point in 2 of these, and hopefully the plus skills will help bump that up. And that's one of the reasons why you want to put 1 point and stuff, is because whenever you have plus skills, it'll make it just it just becomes way more valuable. Just so that 1 point can become, you know, 3 or 4 levels of something, right? I put 1 point in Blindside and I get 5 levels of it. Same thing with the Zolhan's technique. That's really nice too. But one of the main things that changed was my devotion. So I think I took, I'm not sure where we left off at level 50, but I know I took points out of things like, I believe I had the crane at some point, right? I think I took points out of this. I had to take points out of, no, I didn't. Good. I'm glad I left the stag there. Now, once again, I don't think that these are like optimal, like constellation, devotion, constellations, or whatever, but what I wanted to do was eventually move towards, I know I took points out of like the lizard for like extra health and stuff like that and regen and movement speed. So there are things that I liked that I did have to remove. I even removed a point out of this, the spirit thing. Like I told you guys, I had to kind of change things around to free up some spirit points. But then I had to change things around in my gear. So all in all, it's okay. But I basically sort of maybe weakened my character short term to become more powerful long term. But what I was able to unlock was I was able to finish out my crab. I think I talked about the crab earlier. And I was able to put points into this Rowan Scepter, which gives me, it requires a mace, but I've been using a mace this entire time. But it gives me things like defensive ability, health. But here's some really cool stuff. A little bit more defensive ability. But we get physical damage, 5% chance to stun a target for 1 second. And then plus 10% stun duration, which is cool. A big internal trauma damage boost. A big physical damage boost. And because I was able to change things around and give myself enough points to unlock Oleron's Rage and fully make use of it, now we unlock the big boy. So physique, cunning, health, huge. Physical damage, internal trauma damage, exactly what my build is looking for. 30 offensive ability, pierce resistance, bleed resistance. I think I've already maxed out on pierce resistance, but bleed resistance is always nice, even though I'm trying to reduce the duration of it. We also have just big health value, big physical resistance, huge physical damage, another huge internal trauma damage buff right there with additional damage added to it. And then we have this proc right here. This is the whole reason why I wanted to make sure I got a single target attack ability. 100% chance on critical attack. I don't really crit that often, but when I do, it'll do a big AoE that applies bleed. It just does damage. It slows enemies' attacks, and it reduces their physical resistance. So, and this is the kind of thing that I will continue to level up for sure. And it's the kind of thing that I really want to look forward to having at max level. Right now, I still find it's mostly effective to just kind of spam my Forcewave. But having a single target ability to like smack down strong monsters is something that I think I'm going to need later on. And this particular constellation just has so much good stuff that I really wanted to get to that. To have this one be like my big point investment. This is what we've been working towards this entire time. So that's what we ended up getting. I forget what I took points out of. I may have had points in some of these other like defensive like talent thingies. I left some like for example this kind of thing. Like I don't love the owl. It doesn't really give me a lot of stuff that I like, but I needed it in order to unlock this thing. I could have maybe put points at something like this for like more damage somewhere, but I needed more of these five ascendant constellations to unlock this. But basically this is where we're at right now. And I also took points out of the starting thing, which is cool. Once you, it's kind of weird, and I would have to experiment more with exactly how it works. But once you have something unlocked, as long as the points that you're taking out don't like don't completely put you under the amount that you need to do your constellation, you can move points around. So, like maybe I needed this at one point to unlock something else. But then once I didn't need it anymore, I could come back and take the points out. And respecking isn't very expensive. It's really inexpensive for doing skills. It becomes just a teeny bit more expensive to do your devotions because it requires an Aether Crystal, but you should be getting plenty of those if you're just like running around questing, doing in the normal game. So that's how things are looking right now. Focus on big two-handed damage, big physical damage. I still wanted to keep this guy around, even though this probably isn't the most helpful one, but I like the fact that I get some lifesteal. And if I had more, I maybe would take more lifesteal. I think you get some out of this guy too. 3% of attack, damage converted to health. That's pretty cool too. But you got to make some tough choices, and that's what I ended up doing. Is I wanted to keep my Dryad's Blessing. I wanted to keep, obviously keep the Falcon Soup. This thing is crazy strong. And then I had to make some decisions that I didn't love. Like for example, I took a little bit of these. I mean, Sun Duration's not bad, but like I took a little bit of these guys to make sure that I could get the points I needed. Just to get all the way down to the mace, which is kind of a cool bonus, but then definitely Oleron's Rage. So that's where I'm at right now. In terms of my gear, The gear really didn't change too much. A couple things that might be new, I'm not sure, but we'll just scroll through everything again. Same weapon that I've been using. Reduction to enemies' health, extra damage to the Thonics, which is cool. I'm looking forward to making a weapon upgrade. I've been using this thing for a long time, but it's been doing good for me, so I'm not too mad about it. This guy, once again, this is +2 to Zolan's technique. I finally decided to make use of that. This thing, it gives me a lot of physical damage, which is nice. Just a big old item level, like 50 required item level here. Earthquake is kind of fun. And it does proc off of my Forcewave. I think I was sort of speculating whether it would or not last video, and it definitely does, which is cool. Still using this guy, Calamity. I've unlocked a lot of different relic blueprints, but I haven't been able to make any of them yet, so I'm excited to see when we can do that. But this is still a cool one. The Warpath Girdle, plus to all skills in Soldier. I love these things. They give me plus skills. I'm definitely looking forward to finding more of those. Like this thing, +3 to Scars of Battle. That's a huge stat upgrade right there. And look at the stats on it. 50% physical damage, 44% internal trauma damage, some crazy stuff, plus 50 offensive ability, and it gives me a Lifestealer Nova. Sometimes when I'm hit, I'll do like a little AoE, and it'll steal all the damage that I do, like back to me, which is pretty cool. Very fun thing. And these are the same boots that give me a little bit plus to my charge little buff thing. These are pretty cool. I found an upgrade to the gloves that I like, the Battle Fury. I was like, man, I'm gonna be sad when I lose that proc, but I found these, which are basically the same thing, physical damage, offensive ability, but they still give me the proc, which is cool. The shoulders, I'm pretty sure these are the same shoulders as before. Just good old physical damage, good old internal trauma damage, which I like. The helmet, I'm pretty sure I got this thing this as an upgrade. It gives me Warcry plus skills and -2 to the skill recharge. Now I haven't even put a point in Warcry yet, but I probably should eventually, once again, to use that 1-point wonder situation correctly. I think that these are some new rings, maybe. +1 to Cadence is that left click ability, my basic auto attack now, so I'm getting plus points now, which is nice. Just on time to put that into use. Plus physical damage, a little bit of health regen, nothing too crazy besides the physical damage on this one. This guy's nice too, 45% physical, 49% internal trauma damage, big time. In addition to +9 to all damage, which is crazy. Now this amulet, it doesn't really pack a big punch in terms of like raw stats. Like 12 physique, 17 cunning, 15 spirit. That's nothing too crazy, but what makes it so powerful is the +1 to all skills. If I can put an amulet on with 50% increased physical damage, 50% internal trauma damage, and it still doesn't compare at all to the strength of +1 skills. So I'm using this guy right now. I'll probably use him for a little while just because of how powerful that plus skills is. So that's the way my stats are looking in terms of the damage I'm dealing with, all my buffs up, with all Oleron's Rage, Counter-Strike, Field Command, and Maug Dragon's Pact. We've got about 21k in both, but you got to remember the Cadence, every like third attack will do an extra damage. Plus I have all these different procs on it, so I'm trying to weave it in, but a maxed out skill Forcewave is still going to probably be more effective than a super tiny skilled Cadence. But as I put more points into these single target abilities and single target buffs to that single target ability, I think this is going to become pretty powerful and really nice for killing strong monsters later on. But that's how things are looking right now, guys. Once again, having a lot of fun playing Grim Dawn. Hopefully you guys are digging the videos. I know it's something a little bit different, but like I said, I've been enjoying some holiday time off, and during that time off I'm able to just chill out with Jenny and just kind of space out and play some video games, and this is a perfect game for doing just that. So my plan in the future, definitely gonna be playing some more WoW, obviously on stream. We're gonna be starting the streams again here, like probably tomorrow, honestly. Just get back in the rhythm of streaming and probably playing some WoW during the day. And then if I have my way, maybe we'll come back in the evening time and just grind out some more Grim Dawn, something like that, just to kind of chill out and have some fun. And if you guys are digging the Grim Dawn videos, definitely be sure to show them some love and the likes and comments, and we'll keep them rolling for you. Either way, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this level 60 Forcewave Warder update, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace!